Um, just picking a new topic today. I think we'll talk about quadratic equations, quadratic formula, actually. We'll see how far we can get on this. Do you have some pencil and paper out for today?
Yes.
Excellent. Okay. So the quadratic formula, do you remember that at all?
All over 2A. I know that.
Yeah. Now you have to know this really well.
Okay, I'm gonna write.
Now I don't have a good way to remember it. Maybe there's a TikTok video on that, but
I have a song.
okay. You gotta know, because you may get one question that literally says to solve it with the quadratic equation. Now, the reason that we know it's a quadratic equation or quadratic formula problem, when I show you the answer space, which I'm going to show and then I'm going to remove, all the answers are in this format over here on the right. Okay. So we're going to at least do one here together. So A is the coefficient in front of x squared 3, B is -7, and C is -1. So the A, B, and C, they take on the operator sign. I'm sure you've seen this before. Now writing it out isn't too bad. Opposite of B, opposite of -7, plus or minus the square root. Now this is very important when you're substituting in for B, or really in general in any letter. I like to show it in parentheses. I feel like that limits the chance that I'm gonna not account for it. Okay. So let's look at the answer space real quick once you get that down. And if you're able to look at the answer space, you notice they all have 6 on the bottom.
Yep.
You're going to have 6 on the bottom, so that doesn't help you out here. This becomes 7 in front, so that gets you down to these 2. Okay, so it's good to kind of look at the answer space. Now we got to focus on what's inside there. What is -7 in parentheses squared? What is 7 times 7?
35. No, 35 plus 7 plus 7. 56.
49.
49. I knew
Right.
that.
Okay. 4 times 3 times -1, but then there's a negative there, so that becomes +12. Okay, so the answer is 7 plus or minus the square root of 61 divided by 6, which means it's letter B. Do you remember doing this in school?
Yes. Yeah.
Okay. All right. There's not really much more I can say on that, so I'm going to have you try one on your own. And I'll write the formula again if you need it, but so
I have
go, you got it. Okay. So just go with the fact that this is a quadratic formula problem. We'll talk about why it is in a maybe once we get through this, but go ahead and try solving this for me, please.
Okay.
How are you doing on this one?
Just about finished.
Okay.
Okay. I
Yep.
have 6. -6. Okay. So I have Uh, I don't know what to do at the beginning with the 6. So there's the negative parentheses 6 parenthesis plus minus square root, and then I have 36 or 16, sorry, over 8.
It's 36 minus 16 though, isn't it?
Oh, shoot, 20.
20 over 8. Is that right?
Yeah.
Okay. You don't need the parentheses after you can substitute in parentheses. I know I said to do that and I didn't even do that. Now, let's look at the answer space. And then we're going to realize we have to do a bit more work here. So let me snip this in. So do any of these look like the answer over here on the right?
No.
No. It's like they all have 4 on the bottom, which that's no good. And none of them have the square root of 20. Now, we did
Divide by
this.
2.
We will, but we have to first reduce the square root of 20. So we think we did this with triangles. Do a prime factorization 2 and 10, 2 and 5. You
Yep.
remember doing that? Okay, so for each pair, you bring 1 out. Okay, so this becomes -6 plus or minus 2 square root 5 over 8. Now this is an important step. Division is not a choice. You have to do it to both. -6 over 8, 2 square root 5 over 8. Now I'm showing it this way. I know the answer is not written this way, but you're dividing both of them by 8. So it becomes -3/4 plus or minus square root of 5 over 4.
So I just take away that 2 in front of the square.
Yes. You're only allowed though to divide if it's outside the root.
Okay.
Okay. It's really important that you buy into that, because if I give you a problem where I say it's the square root of 6 over 2, this is the square root of 6 over 2. You cannot divide inside. There's an impenetrable wall there that you can't get to. Okay. Now, if we go back and look at your problem here, the way the question says, it says which of the following is a possible solution. So you're looking for the one that's -3 plus square root 5, which looks like it's this one here. Yeah. Okay, so hopefully it's coming back. Yeah, let's do another one here. Okay, so here's another question. What are the solutions to 3x squared plus 12x plus 6 equals 0? So I would like you to try solving this on your own, please.
Okay. Minus.
How are you doing on this one?
I'm at 12 plus minus, and then I got 6 square root 3 all over 6.
Good,
I haven't finished it yet.
good. Okay, you're almost there. Yeah, keep going.
Divide by 6. So would I just get -2 plus minus square root 3?
So there's probably a small issue there inside the root because none of those answers have a square root 3. So let me just look at this with you. 12 squared is 144. 3 times 6, I don't know what it is. Let's do 4 times 3 is 12. 12 times 6 is 72. So it's the square root of 72. Is that what you wrote at some point as the root part?
Oh no, I did the subtraction wrong.
Okay, what did you come up with?
I got 108.
Okay,
I was going too fast for myself.
got it. So square root of 72, we reduce the same way we've done before: 2 and 36, 2 and 18, 2 and 9, 3 and 3. So in that case, both a 2 and a 3 come out. This 2 is left over though. So minus 12 plus or minus the 2 and the 3 come out. So that's where you get the 6. Square root of 2 though, all over 6. And now you're going to divide both of these
By
by
6.
6.
-2 plus minus square root of 2.
Yes. Okay, and that is there in the answer space. Okay, let me see. Trying not to get these to be too difficult. Let's do one more. Yeah, I guess this one is one. Okay. All right. So this one says, what is the sum? Sum means to add up of all values of m that satisfy this equation. So a lot of times they're asking you like a really complicated question, but if you simplify it, they're just asking you to solve using the quadratic formula. Okay. And then add them together. So what I want you to do is solve this using the quadratic formula like we've been doing.
Okay.
So take your time, see if we can get this one right from the start. How are you doing on this one?
I got 16 plus minus 8 square root 5 over,
Over
and then,
4?
yeah, and I haven't gotten to the dividing part.
Okay, keep going. You're doing great. I'll just check here as we go.
Okay, so I got 4 plus minus 2 square root 5.
Okay, now we haven't talked about this yet. Let me just check your work here. I apologize. I just forgot that these numbers get fairly large. So we got 256 minus 64. So what was your root end up being inside here? What was the square root of what number?
I forgot
192?
positive. I forgot to make that negative 16 to a positive 256.
Okay. Yeah, so you're putting those negative numbers in parentheses is really going to help here with that.
I got 290.
256 minus 64, I feel like is 192.
2, 12, 2, 6, 2. So I still got that 2 in front, but in the parentheses is a 3.
Yeah, so but do you reduce this 192?
Yeah,
Okay, sorry, I didn't know if you were doing that or not.
I was doing that right now. Sorry.
Okay, cool. 2 and 6, so we got one more 2. Wow, this is a big one. 2, 2, and 2. Okay, so we got 8. Yeah, square root 3. Yeah, so it's 4 plus or minus 2 square root 3. Is that what you said?
Yeah.
That sounds right. Okay, now this is the first time we've done this, but we're actually going to write both of those solutions out. So 4 plus or minus 2 square root 3. What that really is it's 4 plus 2 square root 3 and 4 minus 2 square root 3. You probably remember this from class. Maybe you had to write this out. Now, if we were to add these vertically, what is 4 plus 4? 8, right? But the next one, 2 square root 3 plus negative square root 3, that becomes 0. Is that okay? Is that clear? You're muted, Elijah. If you're trying to talk, I cannot hear you.
I had to close my door. Sorry.
No problem. If you ever need to break or do anything, just let me know. So what I was trying to show you here is that you are adding 4 plus 2 square root of 3, 4 minus 2 square root of 3. When you add them vertically, you just get the number out in front.
Yeah, because those get turned into 0.
They cancel, yeah. Okay, and that's always the case when you add these things, is it's always a nice number. So there's a shortcut here, and this is what I want to avoid with you, but if we had like unlimited time, there's so many shortcuts like that that we could consider. Now, let me give you a little bit more information on these things. So the part that's inside the root, the b squared minus 4ac, it's called the discriminant, and you don't need to know that for this test. But what you do need to know is that there's certain situations that can exist. So if the discriminant equals 0, if b squared minus 4ac equals 0, there is only one solution. And what that means graphically is that it touches right there.
Okay.
Okay. So why does that
Point
matter? Go ahead.
the solution.
Say that again.
That point at the bottom would be the answer.
It is, but here's how the problem would be phrased. Okay, so they would give you something like this. They would say 2x squared minus 4x plus c equals 0, and they would say for what value of c does this have one solution? Okay, and it's multiple choice. So you would have the answers there, but you don't want to do the quadratic formula for each time. So you still write this out. You go A equals 2, B equals -4, and C equals C. But you just focus on the part that's inside the square, the B squared minus 4AC. So this is -4 squared minus 4 times 2 times C. But this time we want this to be 0. Okay, for it to have one solution. So we get 16 minus 8C equals 0, and you solve for C.
C equals 2.
C equals 2, yeah. But that's encoded into this like thing, like for what value C is, you're supposed to know to do this. And that's why we're talking about it. Now, it's also possible that the discriminant could be less than 0. So if D is less than 0, okay, there are no solutions. So let's look at the same problem again. 2x squared minus 4x plus C equals 0. The discriminant is less than 0. So you do that B squared minus 4AC thing again. -4 squared minus 4 times 2 times 1, I'm sorry, times C equals 0. 16 minus 8C. But this time though, I'm sorry, we don't want it equal to 0. We want it less than 0. So it's the same thing though. This time it's that C has to be greater than 2 for this to be the case.
Okay.
And that. Okay. So let's have you look at a problem here. We'll read it together here. In the given equation, C is constant. C is a constant. If the equation has exactly one solution, so if it has one solution, what is the value of the discriminant?
It's got to be greater than 0.
0
Sorry.
equals 0 for one solution. Okay, so I want you to do the B squared minus 4AC for this, but set it equal to 0. Is it clear what I'm asking you to do or not?
Yeah.
Okay, give that a try, please.
Okay. Okay, I think I did something wrong. I'm stuck.
What's the value of B in this?
0.
Okay, let's
Or
review.
it'd be 4, but minus that 4. Because
B squared minus 4. Now, what's the value of A?
1.
1. What's the value of C itself? It's C. So we have 4 minus 4C equals 0.
So the C and the 4 go together.
They're multiplied. When the letters are squeezed together, they're multiplying. Yes. To answer your question, yes.
I left a parenthesis over the C. So
Okay.
I got stuck.
Yeah.
So C would equal 1 though.
Yes. You got it. Okay. This is, we're going to take just a minute or two break here, but this is like one of those times where I'm going to say, please go back and watch the video, redo these problems fresh. You will gain a ton from them if you can for that. But let's just take 1 minute here. I'll mute myself and I'll come back and we'll go to a new topic.
Okay.
Okay. Ready when you are. If you need another minute or two, let me know. You are currently muted also.
Yeah, every time I had to press it like twice.
All right. Yeah, technology. Okay, we're going to talk about parallel lines and perpendicular lines. Okay. Can you tell me anything you know about parallel lines? You are currently muted.
Oh my goodness.
That's
Oh,
okay. You're good now.
well, the two
Okay.
lines.
Hang on a second. So don't worry about it. I did last week, I did probably half a lesson where I wasn't sharing my screen. And the student finally said, "Hey, I can't see your screen." Good.
No,
Yeah. And why didn't you tell me?
at the time.
Yeah. And I, and it was my fault because I got distracted before the lesson started and I wasn't paying attention. So look, it happens to us all. All right. So yeah. Parallel lines. What do you know about parallel lines?
I know that K, like line K, like K, like P, O, the ones going diagonal, right? Those ones are parallel to each other.
That's true. Like if you're on the basketball court, the base lines are parallel on each end,
Sideline.
things like sidelines, but they're in math, we use a different word. What do you know about the slopes of parallel lines?
Oh, I remember this.
They're the
They're the same.
same. They're the same.
Yeah.
It's a fundamental requirement is they are the same. Okay. So we'll get to the problem here. How would you calculate the slope from, I'll call this point A to point B? What is another way to remember slope?
Rise over run.
Rise over run. So now rise can either mean up or down. In this case, you're going up because you're always going left to right. How much are you going up? And then how much are you going right in this case?
You're going up 5 and you're going over 2 times.
So you're going up the Y value.
Oh, up 2 over 5. My fault.
You're going up 2 and over 5. Good. Okay. Now, if these lines are parallel, L and K are parallel, then they have the same slope, which means from this point down here, I'll call it C, we should be able to go up 2 and right 5. Okay. So if we go up 2, the Y value changes to -2. You see that?
Yeah.
And the X value is now 5. Now, if we do that again, if we go up 2 more and then go right 5 more, I went too far, but that didn't give me enough. But this Y value goes to 0, what does the X value go to?
10.
10. Okay, so very important. Parallel lines have the same
Slope.
slope. Okay. All right. Now let's look at some questions together. Some more questions. Which of the following equations represents a line that is parallel to the line with equation y equals -3x plus 4? Now, before you look at the answers, now you already have, what is the slope of this equation here? Y equals -3x plus 4. What is its
Over 1.
slope? Say that again.
3 over 1.
Sorry, my thing's happened a lot lately. Yeah, the slope is -3. Hopefully you're able to hear me.
You can. I can.
Yes. Okay, so the slope is -3. The problem is that none of these have the same form. Okay. So like what I'm going to do is I'm going to solve this one for y. So you can see how to do this. So 6x plus 2y equals 15. To solve for y, you're going to subtract 6x from both sides. So you have 2y equals -6x plus 15. So very important here is you have to put the x term first. Then you divide by 2, but you divide everything by 2. Y equals -3x plus 15 over 2. What is the slope of this one?
It's -3.
Is that the
But
same as this one?
yeah.
Are they the same?
Yes.
Are they parallel?
Yeah.
Yes. Now there's a little additional constraint here. The B values have to be different.
They have to be because then
Different.
they're on a different place.
Otherwise, they'd be the same line. Let me just
Okay.
show you that. Yeah. And I didn't realize this was going to work out so nicely. Okay. So parallel lines have the same slope. Okay, let's look at this problem here. Can you read this one out loud for me?
Line K is defined by y equals negative x plus 5. Line J is parallel to line K. On the xy plane, what is the slope of line J?
Okay, now I'm going to read it. You can listen. Line K is defined by y equals minus x plus 5. Line J is parallel to line K. What does that mean if they're parallel?
They're the same. Their slope is the same.
Same slope on the xy plane. What is the slope of line J? Well, it's the same as the slope of this equation. What is the slope of this equation? What is the number in front of x?
-1. So it'd be A.
Good. A lot of words to ask something that's pretty straightforward. Looking for another parallel before we go to perpendicular. Okay, so it doesn't look like you're going to get an easy parallel and perpendicular, or I'm sorry, it doesn't look like they've got, you'll probably get a perpendicular, so we'll talk about that next. All right, so the difference between parallel and perpendicular lines, two lines are perpendicular if they meet at a 90-degree angle. Okay, and there's an exercise I do here. So if I give you the slope of line 1 and I want the perpendicular slope of line 2, okay, the way you do this is, and a couple of words that we can use. So you hear this in the classroom, opposite reciprocal.
Yeah.
Have you heard that before?
Yes.
Another word choice, flip negate, is also good. Doesn't matter to me which you use, but let's say the slope of line 1 is -3/4. The flip negate or opposite reciprocal is 4/3.
Negative.
Now I want you to multiply these for me, please,
I have
together.
a
Yeah, go for it.
So when that -3 goes down to the denominator, it always has to be positive.
So, okay, so let me try to answer your question over here off to the right. If we just flip it, the -3 is on the bottom. But if we negate it or take the negative of it, now you have two negatives, which
I'll
becomes
make
positive.
okay.
Now, more generally, here's what I think you're asking. All of these are the same that I'm about to write, but the two on the right are preferred. You never leave a negative on the bottom because it's ugly, supposedly.
Like me.
Well, no, that's it's like it's just there's like there's a way you wear your uniform, and then there's things where you still have your uniform on, but it doesn't look right.
Right.
Okay, if you put it inside out, you still got uniform on. So we don't want that. So you will never see it in a standardized test where there's a negative on the bottom. I don't know if they will put it out in front or if it'll be on the numerator. But here we go. Now, could you multiply these fractions for me, please? -3/4 times 4/3.
I got -9 and 16. Was I supposed to cross multiply?
No, you're supposed to just multiply directly across.
Okay.
Top times top, bottom times bottom. You cross multiply when there's an equal sign.
Okay. I got it -1.
You got -1. That's what you're supposed to get. All right. So now let's look at another one. Let's say the slope is 2/5. What is its opposite reciprocal or flip negate?
It'd be -5/2.
Okay. And can you multiply those for me, please?
Yeah. I got -1 again.
Is that surprising to you?
No,
Okay, let's say the slope is -1/3. What is its opposite reciprocal slope?
it'd be 3/1.
Is 3/1, yeah. And they all, the product also equals negative. One more here. Let's say the slope is 7. What is the perpendicular slope?
1/7.
Does this multiply to -1?
Yeah.
Where's the
Yes.
where's the negative?
One. It's just one, like regular one.
It's got to be negative though.
Oh, okay.
So it's
Yeah.
-1/7. Okay, that is very important. And I want you to think about that. So parallel lines have the same slope. Perpendicular lines have opposite reciprocal slope or something like that. Is that okay?
Yeah.
Okay. So when I snip and post this next question, I want you to figure out right away what the perpendicular slope is. So go ahead and read that and tell me what the perpendicular slope is, please.
In the XY plane, line L has a slope of 2. So it'd be -1/2.
Okay, so which of these lines has a slope of -1/2?
C and D.
Okay, good. See how we're getting down to 2? We're not guessing. Okay, so one of these contains this point. Now let's say you check the answer in C and C is wrong. Then the answer must be D. Or you can try the answer in D, and if it's wrong, then it must be C. Now, obviously, if it's right, then you've got it. So do you know how to check this point in this equation?
Maybe a refresher would do good, but
Sure, we'll do it for this one. So this is x4 and this is y2. So if I write y equals -1/2 x, what I'm doing is I'm wondering, is 2 equal to, that's a question, -1/2 times 4? I'm really asking, like, is this true?
okay, so it plugs it in. You plug those two in.
Yes. Is 2 equal to -2?
No.
No. So the answer is D. Now, what I'd like you to do, and I don't want you to do this on the test, but just for now, I want you to plug those points in to D and verify that it is true, please.
Okay. 2 equals -1/2 times 4 plus 4. -2. It says 2 equals 2.
And that's true. Do you agree?
Yes.
Okay. All right, so really quick here, a little more just information. You may want to write this down. So y equals mx plus b is your slope intercept form. Okay, now when you play basketball, if your coach says they're playing man-to-man defense, what kind of defense are they playing?
Man to man.
Man-to-man, right? If I tell you the equation is slope intercept form, what does the equation contain?
Y equals mx plus b.
A slope and an intercept.
Okay.
Do you see how the name encodes what it is?
Yeah.
Okay. And we don't have to make this complicated. It's literally like, oh, it's slope intercept. It must have a slope m and an intercept b. The next one we have is y minus y1 equals m, x minus x1. This is called point slope form. You can call this, your zone defense if you want. It contains what? What does point slope form contain?
A point and a slope.
Yes. So notice if you're given either one of these equations, you can read off the slope. You can say, oh, m and m, because m is next to x, m is outside the parentheses. Do you see how that's very straightforward to do?
Yeah.
Okay. The last form, ax plus by equals c, is called standard form.
A b equal.
So if we use the same kind of, flow of ideas, it gives you the standard, which is actually nothing. It doesn't give you anything. it's not entirely true. It does give you intercepts, but you do not get the slope from standard form.
Okay.
Okay. So how do you get the slope from standard form, which is what you're going to do in the next problem? You have to put it into slope intercept form. Okay. So let me show you that here. Actually, we already did that in previous round. We'll do it again. 4x minus 2y equals 6. Okay. So this is in standard form. Do you agree with that?
Yes.
Okay. We're going to solve for y to put it into slope intercept form. Okay, so to solve it for y, I'm going to subtract 4x from both sides. Minus 2y equals minus 4x plus 6. Got to rewrite it first. Then, and only then, can you divide everything by -2. And it's not a choice.
You have to.
You have to do both. Y equals 2x minus 3. Now, what is the slope?
2/1.
2/1. Now, you might say, oh, Matthew, isn't it just the negative of that value? Well, sometimes, but you need to solve it into slope intercept form.
Okay.
Okay. Now, I'm going to give you an equation, and you're going to solve it for y. And then I'll show you the rest of it. But I want to do this in pieces here. I want you to solve this for y.
Okay. I got 3y equals 2x plus 6.
Is y by itself?
No, so divide by 3.
Yes.
Y equals 2/3 x plus 2.
Okay. What is the slope?
2/3.
What is the perpendicular slope?
2. Would that be B?
Nope. Let's go back.
Oh, perpendicular. Okay, yeah.
You either opposite, reciprocal, flip, negate.
Yeah. So it'd be -3/2.
-3/2.
I
Okay.
forgot.
All right. Now let's look at just a little bit more of the question. Okay. So in the XY plane, the graph of which of the following equations is perpendicular? Okay. So here's what you just did. You just told me the slope of this one was 2/3. So the perpendicular slope is -3/2. Okay. Now we're going to go look at some equations. Okay. And unfortunately, they're all in standard form.
So I'd have to solve for it.
Yeah. So just pick one, or you just either do A and C or something, but try A. Just try A. I want you to solve it for y, and maybe its slope is -3/2.
Equals 3x plus 6. We go over 2. Well, for A, the slope is 3/2.
I disagree. Did you subtract 3x from both sides?
Wait. So what am I supposed to do then?
Subtract 3x from both sides. Did you do that?
-3/2.
Yes. Okay. I mean, there's a difference, right? Like -3/2 is different than 3/2.
Yep.
And believe it or not, that's the kind of stuff that actually wrecks like space missions, forgetting a negative sign. Okay, now in a bunch of these problems, and I'm gonna show you this here. So let's say I give you something like this. I say 2x minus 4y equals 67. Okay, and I want you to solve for y. Now I'm gonna do this with you. So I'm gonna first subtract 2x from both sides. So -4y equals -2x plus 67. Now I'm going to divide by -4. Okay, so I get y equals, what is 2 divided by 4 with the negatives out in front? What does that reduce to?
1/2, regular 1/2.
X, yeah. Now this on the right, this is irrelevant. You almost never need this number. Okay, and if you spend time trying to reduce it and the problem is asking for the perpendicular slope, you already have what you need.
It would have just been a waste of time.
Yes. And they will put numbers like that in the exam to distract you. So once you get what you need, throw out the rest.
Okay.
All right. So what would the perpendicular slope of this be?
-2.
-2. Perfect. All right. Okay, this we can do this one really fast. This will be our last question. I want you to read this question out loud for me.
Line H is defined by y equals -8x plus 7. What is the slope of a line that is perpendicular to line H in the xy plane?
What is this question asking you to do?
What is the perpendicular line of H?
Just the slope. Just the slope. So what's the slope of this line?
Oh, it's 1/8.
That's it. That's the answer.
What is the slope of a line that is perpendicular to line H?
Yeah. Okay, well, that does take us to the end of our lesson for today, Elijah. Good energy today. Appreciate it. Makes it easier for me when you're, really involved and active. So thanks so much.
Thank you.
We got a lesson on Thursday and I'll see you then.
Goodbye. Have a good day.
Yep, you too. Bye now.